Hey there everyone, Lord Frigid here with the 23rd episode of Aether Raid's Offense. I finally had a good Astra season, which was quite a welcome change after the past two kind of sucking. I managed to get 8 no-death victories using bonus units. I ended up using the New Year's Alfonse and Sharena duo hero, which they were quite effective despite being plus speed minus attack. Thank you for that one, RNGesus. I might even keep them on 1 or 2 raiding parties after this season ends. We'll see what happens. I actually did expect to get more one-hit Galeforce setups than I actually did. So, I don't know, let's go ahead and just get right into these battles, shall we? So this is the first map up, and I really kind of wanted to showcase it as an example of an attempt at space control gone wrong. So you can see that they did a pretty good job of maximizing the amount of space they can cover with the units that they deployed. However, they don't do a good job of covering that space. You can probably see that there's actually 3 groups of units on this map. There is Alm and Veronica in the left, there is Thrasir, Duma, and Micaiah kind of in the middle, and Eliwood over off on the right. Now, there is range overlap within the groups. Alm and Veronica have pretty similar threat ranges, likewise for Thrasir, Micaiah, and Duma, and I guess Eliwood doesn't really have much range overlap at all because he's all on his own some. But between the groups, there really isn't any sort of interaction there. You can pretty easily apply divide and conquer strategies for this map. So for instance, if you have a Null Sea Disrupt range tank, you can break this breakable block over here and take out both Alm and Veronica, and the other groups really won't be able to get to you. If you took out this column of structures, maybe you don't have a Null Sea Disrupt range tank, I don't blame you. Unless you have debuffed Micaiah, Eliwood has harsh command, so he's not going to perform an action before Micaiah just goes down and attacks you, which makes the rest of the enemy's movements incredibly telegraphed and easy to predict. So, heck, you could even stick a very, very bulky tank right here. And because there's no rally trap, because there's no restore trap or any other sort of mechanics like that, the central group with Thrasir, Duma, and Micaiah will all be forced to come at you and attack before Eliwood, Veronica, and Alm can get a chance to move. And that really dramatically reduces the threat level of this map, just because the groups, they're too far apart. So I ended up performing a 2-pronged offensive kind of divide and conquer style strategy of my own, so let's go ahead and get into that. So this is a bit of a funny story. I built this raiding party literally because I had nothing better to put in this slot. I honestly did not think I was going to use it this week at all. And actually, I have ended up using it for half my battles thus far. So I'm just going to go ahead and test this trap. Okay, so that's not real, so that's totally fine. I'll just have Naga smite Celica onto the actual bolt trap before she attacks Alm. That Alm doesn't have advantage, so that should actually just turn out very well for her. Go ahead and get rid of some of these structures, get Fina over here, and essentially what I'm going to do is I am going to snipe Micaiah from over the wall with Alfonse, and then refresh him to get him out of there, and I think he actually has enough firepower to sit in range of Eliwood and actually be able to take him out. And what's going to help me here is the fact that the structure placement is not exactly the greatest, and I can pretty easily break everything and just get right up in there, nearly in their face, without actually aggroing the AI. So I'm going to go ahead and put Altina there, Naga there. That'll get Celica her Oath buffs. Oh, right. Shoot, I totally forgot that Duma's Upheaval put Alfonse in a tactics room range, so it looks like I am going to go ahead and need to take another turn of setup, just so I can deal with that. I will need Altina and Naga both to support Celica's effort on the left-hand side to get her both in with a smite and out with a reposition. But now, I should be pretty safe to activate Alfonse and Sharena's duo skill. Get that fun little animation with the tops crazily spinning in midair. And do I want to... Yeah, I'll go ahead and just get the left-hand side handled first. Celica takes out Alm pretty easily. And then I can get Celica to safety. After that, poor Micaiah just gets one shot, putting Alfonse... Ooh, he's actually back at full HP now, so he's not going to be affected by that tactics room.
Yes.
And yeah, he's definitely going to be able to take out Eliwood. All right, so that actually, I'm actually home free now. The biggest issue was with Micaiah, since she's really the only thing that makes this map even the slightest bit unpredictable. So I'm basically free to go ahead and grab these Aether structures. I am gonna go ahead and put Altina, use a smite to send her over to the right-hand side. That should split up the units pretty nicely. I believe Thersier should definitely go after Naga. Veronica might not? Okay, she won't. Cool. I was kind of hoping she wouldn't. So, this should be a pretty easy... Yeah, Alfonse can one-shot Veronica, which means that I can use Naga and Alfonse to break the structures, and then refresh Alfonse to get the KO on Veronica before she destroys Naga. So, definitely attacking from the right, and that is it. This here is the second map, and it's much more threatening. It's a bit of an interesting combination of space suppression with rally trap elements, and it actually even has a warp chain. So it does a pretty good job of punishing enemy phase approaches. They're really the two main avenues for trying to bait something out would be along this diagonal to try and get Kempf, and here at the edge of Jafar's range. Now, if you try and bait out Kempf, well, first off, it needs to be a null sea disrupt unit, because otherwise Van Edge is going to screw you over. If you do not kill him, then he lunges you, and that will get you screwed over too. If you do manage to take him out with a null sea disrupt tank, then the next thing that happens is Eliwood moves, and if Eliwood is threatened by your unit, like, for example, the unit you used to bait out Kempf, the Seer will use ground orders active, and she will warp to Jafar to rally Eliwood. Then she can receive a refresh from Micaiah, and both Jafar and Thersier are now in position to attack the unit you used to bait out Kempf. So that could suck. Over here, with the Jafar bait, I think that this one actually works a lot better, because now Thersier jumps out in front of Jafar to rally him, gets immediately refreshed by Micaiah, and now Petra can actually warp in front of Thersier to attack your unit, or Thersier and Jafar could just both attack you. Either way, you really only need a solid ranged tank for that job. The two melee cavalry will not actually be able to reach you. Other things I notice about this map, the two hardy bearing users are actually Kempf and Micaiah, so they're both on the right edge of the map, and the rally trap situation actually means that Kempf will not get the refresh, which means you're safe from the hardy bearing users if you try and bait someone out maybe from the left edge. So you can actually use Vantage for that case, as long as it's not a tome user, because Jafar will prevent their counterattack anyways. Similarly, you could perform a hit-and-run type maneuver where you take out both Kempf and Micaiah and then just run away with Galeforce, preferably with cavalry. That way you'll only really have to be dealing with Jafar, but I mean, let's be real. The man's initiating with 50 attack and 40 speed. He's probably not killing much of anything on his own anyway, and he won't have the backup just because the refresher's gone. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get into my personal approach to this map. I actually did go ahead and use the Galeforce hit and run strat, so let's just get into that. So this one is actually a rematch. This person got pitted against my defense team yesterday, in fact. And I looked at their lead, which was the +10 Thersier, and I thought to myself, ooh, this is going to be a pretty interesting one, which is maybe not the reaction most people would have, but oh well, what can you do? There really isn't any reason not to use Alfonse's duo skill here right at the beginning of the map, just because the only units who are going to be affected by it are right next to him anyway, and I will need the charge up to boost Ephraim's special charge so he can actually get off his Galeforce in one hit. I'm going to have him one-shot Kempf. To do that, I will need to break this tactics room and then smite him up there. And then I will have Violet repositioned in by Altina. He will move in, attack Micaiah, and then I will have them both run away. That will get everybody out of the immediate range of the enemies. However, once Eliwood moves, because he will move next since he doesn't have an assist and the others do, Jafar will then be able to warp to him through the power of ground orders, and he will also attack either Altina or Ephraim, because Ephraim's going to be the other unit left in his range. Now that's the reason that's not a problem is, well, one, Altina would totally crush him, and two, Ephraim, I mean, he's got this stat called Defense. It's kind of nice. And Jafar is only initiating with 50 attacks, so even though he does double, it's not anything major, and it's definitely not enough to take him out. Because Ephraim, as I said, he's going to be one-shotting Kemp, so there's really no, he's not even taking any damage. He's going to be completely fresh HP-wise, so I think he takes, what, 2 11s? Not exactly threatening. Ephraim's and Leon's duo skill will get them the movement range to get up here, so this should be pretty quick. Let's take on Kemp. And then I can reposition Byleth in to take on Micaiah. Ooh, he 2-hits her. Would have been 1-hit if I'd had Flashing Blade 4, but oh well. And then with a quick reposition here, I am now ready to go. This is actually a safe place for Alfonse because Jafar is attacking Ephraim, so the Savage Blow damage is not going to affect him. It will affect everyone else on the team though, which kind of sucks, but oh well. A little unfortunate here, actually, in that Ephraim is the one with Wings of Mercy, not Byleth. So, let's see here. Let's go ahead and take out Jafar with Ephraim, I suppose. And then activating Galeforce will allow him to just run right away. I do want to try and bait out Eliwood here, but I kind of have to be careful about how I do it. I would love to be able to just run Ephraim down one space, but the problem with that is once their Seer rallies Eliwood, Petra's going to be able to warp to her, and whichever space, regardless of where Thracia rallies Eliwood from, Petra's actually going to be able to target Ephraim no matter what, and he's at this point, I don't think he's going to be able to take another hit like that. Petra is much more powerful than Jafar with her formation skill, so I'm going to go ahead and just get him out of here, I think. And then what I'll do is I'll have Alfonse placed below Eliwood, I believe. Let me actually run a quick calculation on that. I need to see if he can one-shot him. What I'm not worried about, however, is if I do put Alfonse in Eliwood's range, I'm not worried at all that the Seer will jump out in front of Eliwood to rally him, because that's just not how the AI works. The AI tends to prefer to rally from safe positions, so if I put Alfonse at the very edge of Eliwood's range from below, then Thracia is probably, almost certainly, going to rally from the space to Eliwood's right. Although, actually, come to think of it, I don't even know if, even if she did rally Eliwood from below, I'm not even sure Petra being able to warp to her would be a problem. That might actually be a winnable matchup for Alfonse. But again, unfortunately, not how the AI works. So we will just go ahead and do this. I believe he does take him out by a very narrow margin, so that's nice. I'll go ahead and get my units. Actually, I don't want Altina so far down. I mean, there's no danger here. Even if Petra were to warp in, she wouldn't be able to attack her. Okay, and whoa, he survived? I mean, it doesn't matter. Petra doesn't have Wings of Mercy, but he survived? How in the world? Okay, Byleth can't double. How did he? Oh, he has low attack speed. Awkward. I totally forgot about that. But regardless, I believe I can just have Byleth take out the Seer here. Ooh, that was actually closer than I was expecting, but hey, at least it doesn't get any worse than that. She's already plus 10. And I'll have Altina finish off Eliwood. Not too bad. Alright, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Aether Raid's offense. I know I personally enjoyed restoring my confidence in my ability to not suck during Astra season. Regardless, I will probably be catching you at the end of next week with an Aether Raid's offense video for Light Season. So, until then, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.